Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of BramRadio podcast. Today is going to be a little different. Obviously, I'm not Jeff Bramstead. My name is Samuel Bramstead. I am 19 years old. I am number 2 of 3 Bramstead boys. And today we wanted to do something, a little different. I came into my dad's office and I was like, hey, it'd be kind of cool to do a podcast of just me and you and show them our relationship and the conversations that we have and how unfiltered we can be sometimes. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about some struggles that I've had personally, living on my own at a young age and being a son of a former Navy SEAL and a guy who just does kind of everything. It's none other than Jeffrey Bramstead.
That's what it feels like to sit on this side.
Welcome to the show.
Okay, thank you.
Today you're my guest.
I'll make sure I don't get out of line.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to cuss?
Are you sure? Yeah, we're doing this unapologetically, as our as our bios say.
Go full John Blue.
Yep.
Just full send.
Yeah, no filter on that guy for sure.
He's amazing. He was such a great guest, man.
Oh, I wish I could have been here for that podcast.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome. Yeah, you watch it though, right?
Yeah, I've seen it 1,000 times.
That guy leans in, man.
Yeah, he gets down to the.
I like hearing his hockey stories about if you're going to be a hockey player and you're going to be a hockey player in Boston, you better not mess up because they bite. Remember that? He was talking about getting beer thrown at him, and he's a goalie. He misses a goal. He has to skate to the back over to the over the rail, get over the rail to the their bench, and people throwing their pretzels and hot dogs at him. And yeah, man, what a good show that one was.
I've seen some like YouTube clips of Boston NHL games, and those fans are ruthless.
Yeah.
They
Boston
all
Bruins.
Boston Bruins.
So what are we going to talk about today, Sammy?
We're going to talk a little bit of everything. We're going to just, we're going to talk how we talk.
Okay.
It's a conversation between me and you.
Okay.
Yep, cameras aren't here. Remember that.
Okay. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty nervous.
Are you?
I'm not used to being on this side of the cameras. I'm more of the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do for this show?
I do content creation, social media production, and
Gotcha.
I work with Zach back there. He's somewhere back there.
You see what I did? I just completely turned that around,
Yep.
and now you just
Yep. Now I feel like the guest.
Yeah. Come on. What you got?
So a few years ago, I think it was back in 2017, you gave a piece of your literally gave a piece of your body and to someone you didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's a member of our family, and she's literally blood related now.
Right.
So tell us about that. How? Why?
Oh, that's right. So that would be, that'd be my new little sister, Melinda Ray.
Melinda.
She is this beautiful woman. She's an amazing wife and an amazing mother, and to Mary and Kieran and Caleb, just these amazing kids. And she had a polycystic kidney disease, but it had transferred to her liver. And her liver was about the size of an infant.
That's pretty big.
So the average liver being about 1,500 grams. I mean, it's about the size of, it's about the size of 2 fists or so. And but hers was like the size of a 9-pound baby. It was huge, and it was impeding her ability to have a normal sleep pattern. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't eat. She was only awake a few moments out of maybe a few hours out of the day. Her heart rate, her breathing, everything was affected by this, and she was given, she wasn't given much time left on this earth with her kids and her husband.
Yeah.
And so she reached out over Facebook. Fortunately, Robin Robin, Mama Bear.
Yep. Stepmom.
She went to college with Melinda's sister. And so Robin saw that, and Melinda had just put it out over Facebook that this was a need. She needed somebody to be a donor. And Robin saw it and brought it to my attention. And I was busy in the middle of doing something. I think I was overseas at the skydiving swoop freestyle world championships.
Oh, that's right. In Copenhagen?
That's
right.
And I was like, I saw a few lines of what Robin sent me. I was like, okay, that sounds good. Yeah, let's do that. And the rest is history. Now I have a little sister. She's amazing, and she has the most obnoxious husband in the world. He goes by James Sweet Tits Ray. And he is always a riot. That guy. We have some good crack ups, he and I. But yeah, we now have added family members, definitely and for sure.
Yeah, and it was right after that Robin texted you. You didn't even think about it. You were like, "Yep, let's see if I'm a match.
Yeah.
Let's do it right now."
Yeah.
Yep. Didn't even think about it.
Yeah, it's a see a need and meet it.
Mm.
If you can have a vision for something, and you can be going down the road towards fulfillment of a vision, towards trying to fulfill a dream, whatever it may be. That's great. But as you're going down this road, you can't ever. It's good to be laser focused, but you're going to bypass opportunities to be a miracle if you're not paying attention. It's called spiritual situational awareness.
Right.
You want to have your head on a swivel, and you're going to see somebody that has a need. You're going to see something that needs to get done. You're going to see some place that you could impact somebody. You're going to see somewhere where you could have maybe a little bit of influence. You can see someone where you can plant a seed. You're going to see somebody who needs help, that needs something that's in you. The reason God put it in you is so that you can bring it out, and you can be that blessing for somebody else. But so many people get wrapped up in, I have somewhere I have to be. I have a vision I have to fulfill. I have a dream that I have to make happen. Or they're so wrapped up in their own mess that they can't stop to see that. And sometimes the best time to be a miracle is when you need one.
Wow, that was powerful.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and it was it was awesome. It was an awesome experience too. I'd never had a surgery before, so I wasn't that great of a patient. I learned.
Yeah, but I remember when you first told me that story, you were mentioning how big your liver was in comparison. It was like this big.
It was like massive.
Big.
Yeah,
big liver energy right there.
You know what they say? Big hands, big liver.
Yeah, I guess that can be a saying now. Yeah, you ran into all kinds of interesting people in that journey too, haven't you? Like the White Walker.
Oh, she was the anesthesiologist. And James and I started calling her the White Walker because she had white hair and piercing blue eyes, and she was mean, like she was. And I remember the last thing she said to me before she put me out. She said, "I am a woman, I am small, and I am old, and none of these things are you. So, when you're coming out of anesthesia." If you come out like I think you are, I want you to know I have the biggest needle in the room, and I will put you right back down again if you're coming out violent. I was like, yes, ma'am. And she goes, listen to my voice. This is what you're going to hear as you're coming out. You're going to hear my voice. And I want you to remember that. I'm using a lot of words because I want you to understand what I sound like, because I don't want you freaking out when you wake up. So, yeah, that was the White Walker. One of my favorite characters in that whole story is also, besides James and Melinda and their family, is Elizabeth Pomfret, the doctor.
Ah, Miss Pomfret.
Yes, she was amazing. And so Dr. Pomfret took my liver out, and then her husband put my liver in Melinda.
I actually did not know that.
And so they're married. They're a married couple, but they met in high school.
Good for them. Wow.
So think about that. They met in high school. They didn't meet in like doctor school.
Yeah.
You know.
High school sweethearts.
They were high school sweethearts and did this whole journey together, and now they work in an OR together, and now she's, you know, the president of some transplant organization that's a worldwide organization. She's a bigwig. So, but she is absolutely hilarious and does not put up with poor patient antics that I have plenty of, allegedly. Can neither confirm nor deny. I mean, you're just giving up part of your life. I mean, it's like, I
can confirm.
Are you supposed to like drink anything, you know, alcoholic, you know, for the first 3 months? I mean, probably not a great idea. Are you supposed to pick up anything over 10 pounds? No. You know, so I would go to the store and I would take one of those shopping carts and I would just load it down with just red wine and some whiskey and everything else. And I would take a picture of it and I would say in the text message to her, I'm pretty sure this is over 10 pounds. Never mind what's in it.
Yeah, right. I remember after the surgery, you were telling me a story how you were talking to Robin, and just a lot of pain. You were just in a lot of pain, and you went up to Robin. And you were like, "Where was this? Where did the surgery take place? Where was it?"
In near Denver, in Aurora.
Aurora.
Yeah.
You're like, Robin, if you love me at all, you will go out to the street and find whatever drugs you can and bring them back to me as soon as you can. I am dying over here. That's probably my favorite.
She's like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, she's like, where am I? Where would I? Like, you're in Aurora, for crying out loud. You don't have to walk 5 feet. You're gonna be able to find it.
Yeah. Oh man.
You know what came out of that whole thing though? One of my favorite things that came out of that story was, right after that, I wasn't able to work out for months. So when it came time for me to get back on my feet, the first place I went was to Victory MMA and Fitness, Jocko's gym, right? And I'm like, I have to do stuff. I have to do something. I'm going to get back in. I definitely want to get back to fighting. And, you know, and team guys like to support each other and stuff. I've known him for so long. I was like, I'm just going to go there, and it's near the house. So I'm in a boxing class. I am dying because it's just, my arm's ready to fall off. It's just a fitness level I didn't have after 3 or 4 months of not doing anything. And I'm at the water fountain, just inhaling water. I'm pretty sure my mouth was over the thing that the water is coming out of, and I'm trying to pull the water out of the pipes, you know. And
I used to laugh at those kids in elementary school.
Yeah,
with their mouth on the
yeah.
water fountain,
It's definitely. I mean, it's like total window licker stuff. You know what I mean? It's for sure. It's crayon eating.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know. It's definitely. And Jimmy May comes down the stairs and he says, "Bram, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, hey man, how's it going?" And he goes, "Dude, the men train upstairs."
Ouch.
I was like, "Yeah, called out." Yeah. Next day I was upstairs, and that's where the jiu-jitsu mats are. And so ever since then, it's been jiu-jitsu every day for me. So now it's almost 6 years.
Yeah, I think so. It was right around when I started wrestling, and that was just before high school.
Yeah, so it was like March, I think. Yeah. So it'll be 6 years in March, I think, that I've been training. Yeah. So
love going to train with you in the mornings. It's
Fun,
it's
huh?
like all of my friends are there in one spot. You know, I don't have to.
Yeah.
I don't have to. I don't have to like text anybody. Hey, are you gonna be there? Because I just know they're gonna be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love going to the gym and getting that kind of workout in because it's so different than like lifting weights or doing cardio because it's like kind of like cardio, kind of like lifting weights rolled into one, except it's not weights, it's people.
Yeah.
And it's like a whole different kind of thinking.
I always tell people that if you're not sure about, I think everybody needs to do some kind of combat training of some sort.
Right.
The reason for it is multi-layered. I think that every dude needs to be capable. I think that every guy needs to be dangerous. And when I say dangerous, I'm not talking about, dangerous like, oh, he's volatile. He's going to go postal and he's going to go do bad and illegal things. That's not what I'm talking about when I say dangerous. I think that the most dangerous part of any human being is going to be if they properly utilize their mind, they're going to be very dangerous. They're going to be they are a very dangerous human. And there is a tactical preciseness that happens with jiu-jitsu. But the wide range of outcomes and choices you have are massive.
Yeah.
You can control somebody. You can hurt them. You can injure them. It's a difference. You could kill them. Like, you have a wide array of options that you have. And you'll never arrive. It's like golf. You'll never arrive. You'll never just be, it's never going to happen where somebody's going to like hit an 18.
Yeah. Right.
And then hit another 18 and then hit an 18 and just that's all they do is just hit 18s. It's not going to happen.
There's no consistently perfect.
Right.
Yep.
And that's my favorite thing about jiu-jitsu. But at the same time, man, the mental workout that you get when you do that along with the physical side of it. And there can be impact, but there's not that much. And so you can do it for longer than you can, like, say, play football or something like that. Right? So, yeah, but I always tell people too, it's like if you're looking for something to do, that's a martial art that is going to have you'll be able to get the most out of. It's going to be jiu-jitsu. And I think that Western boxing and kickboxing and Muay Thai, all that stuff is great. It's great, but you have to be ready. The dangerous person is somebody who's ready for any circumstance, any situation. That's why I always say, hey, stay dangerous.
Yep.
I'm assuming that you're dangerous. I am giving you the benefit of the doubt that you are smart enough to be able to think your way out of most situations. That you're going to be able to use your words over your hands. That you're going to be able to choose your way in the right way at the right time with the right words, right? That's a dangerous man that can do that.
Yeah.
But then when that doesn't work and somebody brings trouble to you, when the battle chooses you and it's time to get to work, now you have more tools to work with. That's why I always like to tell people about jiu-jitsu. Just, get in there, get on the mats and do it. You're going to know in the first 5 seconds that you do it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yep. And for me, jiu-jitsu helped a lot with my other things that I did, like skateboarding and skydiving and all that, because it builds that body awareness. And so now I can, it just helps a lot. And
you're a terrible skydiver, though.
Yeah, but I'm better than you, so it's kind of
burn. Oh, that would hurt a little. It's not true, though. It's not true.
Let's go up and see.
What's the bet? And what are we doing in the air?
It doesn't matter as long as I can get you in the air. As long as I can get you in that plane, I'll do it.
That's what it is. It's just you just want to go up and jump with Dad.
Yep, that's it. I think the last jump that I did with you, I think I was 17. I started jumping when I was 16, as the youngest skydiver in the
Mm-hmm.
country,
were.
following my brother, who also is the youngest skydiver in the country. He actually started earlier than I did. He did his first jump right on his 16th
16th
birthday.
birthday. Yep.
And yeah, so, I mean, Zach has a picture that you can put up. It's one of my favorite pictures. I still have my braces on. I look like a nerd. But yeah, I'll do anything to get you back on the plane.
What is it? The picture of you, me, and Micah in the plane?
Yep.
That was a good one.
Yep.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I remember that jump so well. The only the memory that sticks out to me the most in all of skydiving is I don't even know where Mike is at. He's somewhere in the sky,
Mm-hmm.
and it's me and you. We're both upside down, and it's just I'm looking at you. You're right side up to me, but the entire world is upside down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just thinking about it makes me want to do it again.
Yeah. That was a fun one. Yeah. You know, one of my favorite things that I did with you and Micah was, and I'm really glad that Adrian wasn't there. And for those of you that don't know, Adrian's 13. I don't think he would have fared so well, but it was when me and Micah took the motocross bikes out and we went out to Pine Valley, and we were just going to go and just do some trails, maybe some single track. And we got out there, 16 inches of snow on the ground. Like, let's go anyway. We're going to do this. And it was hard riding.
Yeah.
So hard. And then Micah started he started getting cranky because his blood sugar started dropping with the diabetes, and it just did not. That he stopped having fun after a while, so we had to take it on home. But man, that was amazing.
Yeah, the less fun Micah has, the more fun I have. It's so fun seeing him frustrated. And when your blood sugar is low, I'm diabetic too, and so is our little sister Annie. And when your blood sugar is low, it's like your emotions get what's the word?
They become pronounced.
Yeah, pronounced. That's a good word to use. And so, like, if you're upset or you're angry, you're really upset. You're really angry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I remember I was in like 6th grade. I was so low coming home from school, and Micah knew because there's like telltale signs, like you can see it. Like my color goes away. I kind of start losing myself a little bit. And Mike is trying to like force feed me juices. He's just trying to like hold me down, just shove them down my throat. And I was like trying to kick him off me. I was like throwing juices at him. I was throwing everything at him. And I didn't even know. Like I didn't really remember all that happened until he called you later, because we go to you for all of our problems that we have, our little squabbles.
Right.
And yeah, it's super fun seeing Mike upset.
Yeah. 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 Do you remember? And I think I talked about this in one of the other podcasts, and I think I had you say it from behind the camera. Do you remember the phrase that I had you and Micah memorize, and I would have you say it every day that I would drop you off at school? What's the question I would ask you?
What is character?
And what is character?
Character is the place inside you where the things that you do, the things that you say, and the decisions you make come from.
Yeah. What does that mean?
It means,
well, first, you remember when, and then I would pick you up at school, and I would ask you, so how did it go?
Yep.
And then you guys always had the most honest answers.
Well, yeah. I mean, you ask a question, you get an honest answer.
Yeah. And you would always, and you're like, I didn't do it today, Dad. I messed up. Like, tell me about it. What happened? And then you guys would tell me about a mistake that you made, or you laughed at a joke you shouldn't have, or you made somebody feel a certain way, and it's like, okay, well, what's the solution?
Yeah.
Well, problem identified. What's the solution?
Yeah.
And then the next day you would come home and you say, you know what, that cleaned up really well, and I made a new friend.
Yep.
It was so interesting watching you guys grow up in your just varied environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had my house and Mom's house, right?
Yeah.
And you had diabetes to deal with, and you have Annie. She's special needs sister.
Yeah.
And all these dynamics, and seeing how you and Micah, Annie, how you guys have embraced the new guy, Adrian.
Yeah.
right? For the last few years that he's been with us, your new little brother, and how well adjusted that you have been is really quite fantastic to watch it all unfold. You know, but then when you make a mistake as a 19-year-old, 18-year-old, 17-year-old, 16-year-old, whatever, right? The role as a dad changes. It's going to change. My role as your father is going to constantly be going through a morphing. It's going to be just in a constant flow state, right? The name dad isn't going to change, but my role as a dad is, right?
Right.
And that's why I remember I set you guys down. I think it was probably, I don't know, you were probably 15, 16, 17 years old,
Yeah.
you and Micah. And I just said, my role as your dad is going to change. I think I'm going to be taking on more of a coach position, less of a dad position, a little less discipline, a little bit more, hey, okay, mistake made. Let's get in it. Let me help you. I'll get in it with you. Let's demonstrate the standard. Let's get through it together. We'll sort it out. We'll talk about the other stuff later, but let's deal with this situation at hand and let's do it together. You remember that conversation?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So my role as a dad is always going to be changing, right? And so being able to get in there and have that conversation with you, and then afterwards being able to see how you guys then felt like you could come to me with more stuff, and you guys did.
Yeah, that's true.
Do that, right?
Yeah. And we were always, like, me and Micah were so terrified of you when we were younger, because we'd, like, switching back and forth households. Mom was kind of more like, "Oh, you got everything you need. Here's your food." You know, she would, like, spoon feed us food.
Mm-hmm.
And going to your house, everything is so, like, gonna be done, gotta be strong. And it was really difficult. It's a real challenge for me personally to swallow my pride and tell you what was wrong, what was going on in my life. I didn't really understand that you wanted to know, not because you wanted to punish me, but because you wanted to help me through it, and that you wanted to be there and be a lifeline.
Yeah, I mean, there was a point in time where it's like, you lied. That's 100 push-ups.
Yeah.
To I get it. I've done that too.
Yeah.
And here's how I got through it. And do you like how you doing with it now? What do you need from me? And I remember you guys like look at each other, look at me, like, is that guy okay? Like, what happened? Because I made because that adjustment came like now, and I was just like, and I think we're gonna do it this way. And there's a lot of dads out there that and that's called intentional parenting. It's called parenting on purpose. It's parenting with an end goal in mind, right? My end goal is to teach you everything that I know how to be a good man. Not to be me, because you don't want to do that, because I am a failure as a man. I have messed everything up, but I am also redeemed by the fact that Jesus died on the cross for me. And then past that, man, there's a few redeeming qualities in there, maybe somewhere, someplace, but if I can show you where the mines are in the minefield, if I can draw somewhat of a map for you through the things that are cursory that you're going to go through, the things that are compulsory, the things that everybody has to do. If I can show you how to get from point A to point B, because you have a bunch more waypoints that you have to hit, but this first one is the one where you're doing it with me. You're doing it under my wing. You're watching what I do. You're listening to what I say. You're going where I go. You're following me. You're emulating. You're imitating. You're doing what I do. And then what to go from, that's point A to point B. Then I get to point B. Now from point B to point C, it's a little bit less. By the time you get to point D, E, and F, like you're on your own and you're probably up in front and you're hauling the mail. You're going, right? But you're gonna make a mistake.
Yeah.
But when you make a mistake, how do you view you when you make a mistake?
That's what character is.
Right.
That's what character is right there.
Yeah. And do you fail forward or do you just quit? Do you stop? I know a lot of guys that have just made so many mistakes and they view themselves a certain way and they just stop. Their vehicle's in neutral. They're not engaged. They're shut off, and they're not leaning in. They don't have that head forward posture. They have stopped engaging with people, engaging with life, engaging with circumstances, engaging with solutions. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Something that's really hard to learn how to do is fall forward. A lot of people that I know personally that are my age tend to, the second that anything remotely bad happens in their life, I mean, it's not really like a absolute concern. You know, it could be like, oh, my boyfriend said this about me. They shut down. They shut down mentally, emotionally, and they don't know how to pick themselves back up in a healthy manner. They resolve to doing unhealthy things. Like, I mean, for me, it was smoking weed. That was my biggest thing that I did. And that was when I was on my own. I moved out right when I got out of high school, and I was living with Micah. And that's kind of where it started for me. And then Micah got sick of me, kicked me out, and I moved up to Oceanside, and I was really on my own then. I didn't have any family members that were kind of in the general vicinity. Like when I was living with Micah in North Park, I had you, I had Mom. You guys weren't more than 25 minutes away. And I kind of I separated from you guys. And I wanted to see how that I would do on my own. I didn't do all that great. I messed up. And so
My favorite part.
Oh, no. Here we go. Don't listen to what he says.
He came to the house. Zach, you'll love this one. So he came to the house, and I said, "Hey, Sam, you want to, every time he'd come over, I would give him my card, and he could go and fill up his car with gas." I was like, "Hey, man, let's go fill your car up with gas." And I start walking towards his car. He's like, "Dad, no, Dad, can we please not do this? Dad, Dad." And he literally started getting tears in his eyes the closer I got to his car. So I'm not stopping now. Like, I want to see what happens now. So I go around his car, and it looks like a homeless dude lives in his car.
Yeah,
like,
it was pretty bad.
Everything he owned was in this car. It was like laundry, and there was work clothes. There was and the window was down. I'm looking in the seat. There's stuff everywhere. And so I opened the door, and the smell that came out of there,
it was bad.
Shall we say, it looked like Cheech and Chong had a grow house in like 5 broken bongs that the bong water went all over the seat. I mean, it smelled bad in there. And I get in, and I was just like, "Come on." And he looks at me, and he's like, "Dad, seriously." And I was like, "Get in." He gets in, he looks at me, and I just start laughing. And he's just like, "I'm so embarrassed. I'm so ashamed." I was just like, "Why? Because your car's a mess, or because it smells like weed? You know, like, which one?" Like, and the list goes on. He was like, "All of the above." You know?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But it was after that that I was like, "Oh, okay. He's not going to be an asshole about it. He's not there to just tell me that I'm messing up, tell me that I'm doing bad."
Watch your language.
Yes, sir. and he was always there for me,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that I really appreciate.
Yes, sir. That's your language, yes, sir. Yeah, it's. I mean, I was 19
Yeah.
once, and I get it. I understand. And you're gonna make mistakes. Like, what do you need at that point? Do you need somebody to point out the fact that you're probably not doing things so well, or do you need someone to be like, I get it, problem identified. Let's move on to the problem solution phase. What's next? How are we going to solve this problem? Right?
Yep.
People who stay in problem identification phase too long, they end up missing the opportunities that are presented to them for a solution. They stop thinking ahead of the plane, right? A pilot who's flying an airplane, you have to think ahead of the airplane. If you're driving a motorcycle down the road, you have to think in front of the motorcycle. If you're flying a fast canopy, you better be thinking in front of that canopy. The faster that canopy is moving, the further in front of it you need to be thinking. Mm-hmm. If you're flying an airplane, the faster that airplane, the further ahead you need to be thinking, right? That's the same thing with problem solution and problem identification. If you're in problem identification, you're identifying a problem that is happening inside the airplane. It is happening inside the confines of that aircraft. It is something in the engine. It is something in the electronics. It is something that is failing. There is a problem, and it needs to get handled. The solution is going to be whatever you choose for a solution is going to be based on your altitude and how far you are from where it is that you can put that thing down. I mean, I'm not a pilot. I'm just freaking using that as an analogy. Right? So your solution is there, but do you have enough in the tank after you've identified the problem to be able to come up with a solution? So people who spend all their time just trying to point out, like, oh, you're this and oh, you're that. I have a buddy of mine, this team guy. I always tell him, like, you are the most judgmental human that I know. Spend so much time in problem identification that by the time it comes down to the solution, it's like he doesn't have enough left in the tank. Conversationally, he doesn't have enough left in the tank. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the issue would be, but he can't get out of the identification phase. And he is always just pointing at it, and he's complaining about it, bitching and moaning about everything that you need. Now's your chance.
Watch your language.
Yes, sir. And I had to tell you that
I was gonna say you're on a roll.
I had
didn't
to
mess
tee up
up.
Oh man,
I'll be better next time. It's okay.
Okay, that's good. Anyway, you get my point, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna sit there and just pound that into you. I mean, it's like we needed to get to the solution phase fast, right? And so we did, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I moved back home.
Had to.
Had to. Yeah. Yeah, rent was getting a little steep up there too.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a hole, and so now you're getting it sorted out. And so people ask me sometimes. They say, when is it appropriate for to move your children out of the house? I always tell them it depends on the child.
100%.
It depends on the child, because if you have a child who's like going in the Marine Corps, hey, get it, go, do it. I'm going off to college and I'm going to go do it. Well, the kid who's going to the Marine Corps, the only way he's coming home is if something happens to him in boot camp where he doesn't make it through. He's going to be probably coming home to reset, to go and do his next thing. But if he's wired to go to the Marine Corps, he's probably going to come home. He's going to bounce. He's going to be there for a moment, but he's going to be heading back out. A kid goes to college, right? What depends on, there's a whole bunch of factors in there. But it's what you're going to allow, and in the house. What I allow in our house are things that are going to move you forward down the road towards a goal, towards a growth pattern that's going to move you into society where you are going to be 100% useful.
Right.
And if it takes an extra year, 2 years to get you there, I'm all about it. because, you know, hey, not everybody's got it in them just to go out there and just go out into the world, start working and nail it. Right now, we have some economy issues. We have some cultural issues. We have some political issues. We have a lot of stuff going on right now. And your generation, because of my generation, has not been properly equipped for what is coming.
No, they have not.
So it's going to be a little bit of a struggle when you get out there. So now, what do we spend a lot of our time doing, right?
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time talking about money, how we handle money. What do we do with money? What is a tithe? What does a tithe mean, right? Tithe, it means 10th part. It means test. It's giving the first fruits of your money. It's the principle of first, that 90% of your money is now blessed versus 100% of it being not blessed. 90% blessed goes way further than, and people say, oh, I can't afford to tithe. Well, you know, I think it's backwards. I think you can't afford not to tithe, right? And so learning those principles. Right? Now you're starting to get money in the bank. Now you're starting to get some ideas and some dreams, some business ideas. Entrepreneurial juices are starting to move and flow. You're being able to, you know, enjoy being in a family environment as a healthy young man, you know, and you're growing now super fast as a result of being in the house. But you also have a plan. You're like, 6 months is my plan, then I'm out again. It's the people who don't have a plan that are terrifying when you have them in your house. Like, I have no idea how long I'm going to be here, but all I know is that I'm going to enjoy mom and dad as long as I can because it's free and the food's free and there's lots of it. You know, that's not a good reason to stay at home.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
being back home, could not imagine a better place that I could be. I feel like coming back inside with a warm fire after being out in the cold where it's like 10 below and you don't have any clothes on. You're just,
I don't worry, you're getting back out there though.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. But I'm gonna go out there well equipped, and I'm gonna go out there better than when I came in.
Yeah.
And it's all about that growth and that progress.
So, you know, you were talking about some of the things that people in your generation, what they deal with, right?
Yeah.
What are some more things that you see them struggling with that is just seems to be it seems to be that they weren't properly taught how to do certain things. But let me
change a tire.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys change tires, great. You know what I mean? But I guess what I'm trying to say is my generation, I believe many, and I'm going to speak for everybody, but from what I see, many men stopped parenting as soon as their schedule got full. As soon as they stopped parenting when they started becoming selfish instead of selfless. And then they became over-medicated, they became over-caffeinated, they became over-scheduled, they became just more self-centered, and they stopped paying attention to their kids, and they stopped paying attention to their wife, and as a result, it became more about them. Now you start having the family structure falling apart, and then you start having kids between two homes. You experienced that because your mom and I divorced many years ago when you were still, I think you were what?
4.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, it was like right after I got diabetes, right before.
Yeah.
Something around there.
Yeah, and she's an amazing human.
Love her to death.
And she when she has a much different parenting style than I do. And I'm not saying better or worse. I'm just saying a different parenting style. So many kids in your generation had those two homes that they had to deal with. And when they have these two homes, there's going to be different sets of rules. So now you have to go through the mental gymnastics of moving back and forth. Tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little stressful more than anything, a little bit. Yeah, because when we came back from your house to Mom's house, it would be early in the morning, we'd be tired or, whatever, and we would have to switch from
The calibration, you got to recalibrate every time.
recalibrate. And so being in your house, it's all about, like, do your chores, make sure you do them well in excellence. Don't be an adult, essentially. And so that was what your house was. It was very grown up place to be. Mom's house was kind of like 180 degrees. We weren't allowed to do our own laundry. Like it was interesting being there. And so when we got back from Mom's house, it would be a lot of kind of like the like the lovey-dovey babying. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it a little bit. It was nice.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. But I feel like right when we left your house, we were in the flow of being at your house, and now we have to completely change. And I feel like I coming back, it was I don't know how to put this, but I kind of felt like I was being a little bit hostile. Like I saw myself being a little bit more hostile going back to Mom's house, and really soft going to your house. Because it's like right when we had to leave one parent's house, we were already set in that mindset. And it's hard to it's like switching immediately. Because right when you get used to it, you're out of that groove again.
Yeah, because it's just a short amount of time in both places, right? So there's probably people watching this who are kind of in that now, where maybe their kids are moving back and forth, right? And I think that like it's what would have been a way, what would have made it easier for you? Looking at it from outside in now, right? What would have made it easier for you in transitioning between, say, Mom's house to my house or my house to Mom's house?
I would say spending an equal amount of time at both houses. Because we're with Mom from it's we were with you every Wednesday, well, every Wednesday night, and then every other weekend. Like that's not a lot of time,
right,
with your dad, and we were with Mom the entire rest of the time. I mean, and to be fair, we did go to school in Santee, and that's where all of my friends were. That's where my social life was. But going back, I think spending equal time, like 1 week here, 1 week there, would have.
So the transition was a little bit.
Yeah.
The transition would be a little bit. I think one of the things that makes that transition easier is that even though, and that's not really the case with your mom and I, because we get along, we don't have the fights and all that kind of stuff that a lot of divorced people have. But when you have parents that choose to co-parent and really get on the same page, so that they are the choices that they're making, they may not be married, but the choices that they're making are going to be the same, so that there's less of a dynamic difference between house one and house two.
Communication.
Yeah. It's a little bit more level. I think that's probably the best way to do that. And I think growing up, I didn't see it from that perspective at that time, And then also it's like when you have house rules and personalities, it's like, Robin and I have our house is a certain way of doing things, right? At your mom and Mark's house, they have a certain way of doing things. Right, you have 4 people, and trying to get them on a level playing field can totally be done. It takes a leadership ability and the ability for everybody in the scenario to put their guns down and come to the table. You have to be able to step out of that, and to do that means that sometimes you have to lead with humility, and that's not always possible. right?
Yeah. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do.
It's a hard thing to do, and leading with humility is going to, it's like you have, people who are leaders that have humility and are able to do that, but at the same time be a strong leader. That's almost that is what it would take to be able to make that dynamic work the best, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
You're doing good, Sam.
I appreciate that. This is my first podcast. So
Yeah.
Hopefully there's more. I'd be excited if there was more.
We'll see.
Love you too, Dad.
See, what do you got, man?
So I want to talk about how you grew up compared to how I grew up. You living in central Wisconsin, on a farm helping, your mom and dad doing some hard labor, especially in like some real cold. We don't get real cold out here in San Diego.
Right.
Versus, me out here in San Diego. There's not really like any like hard labor that you can do when you have. So I think I want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, hard labor here is when your Xbox breaks and you have to somehow try to figure out how to get back to GameStop,
Yeah.
and all you have is a skateboard, and it's like 4 blocks away. That's hard labor.
I got it done.
So I was born in East St. Louis in the ghetto to a Italian woman, and my biological father was black. And I was supposed to be I was supposed to be aborted, and that's a new piece of information that I got in my older life. But she decided against that and decided that I needed to have a chance, and she put me up for adoption. So I spent some time in some foster care, but still as a baby. I was adopted by Mama and Papa.
Mama and Papa, I love you.
And he was a pastor of a church in Cuba, Missouri. And then after that, he got a call to go to central Wisconsin, so Wisconsin Rapids area. And so that's where I ended up growing up. And it's still a great place to go back. It's, it's like you go there. It's kind of like a big, small town.
Yeah.
It's got, maybe 23,000 people in it.
Everyone knows everyone.
Yeah, really good buddy of mine from high school is the mayor there. Shane Blazer is the mayor there. He's just an amazing guy. And I go back, and it's like you can walk into City Hall, and you could I make my way up, and I can just go into Shane's office and sit down and have a conversation. And it's like the mayor of Wisconsin Rapids. It's awesome to be able to go to a place where it looks like it's still kind of, in a way, a little bit stuck in the 80s, maybe even the 70s, with some of the buildings, some of the architecture, and some of the history that's there. But when I was growing up, it was a little different. It was we didn't live in town at the time. Mama and Papa live in town now. We lived 10, 12 miles out of town.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, on a farm. And we had a little lake there. I remember I came home from school one day, and I asked my mom, "What's for dinner?" And she said, "I don't know. What'd you bring me?" So I was like, I don't. So I went and got my fishing pole. Only thing I knew how to do. Got my fishing pole, grabbed my BB gun, grabbed my bucket, grabbed another bucket full of dirt with a bunch of worms in it.
Yeah.
Walked back. We had a little lake on our pond, and so I had my little Red Ryder. I had it cocked, sitting on the bank of the pond.
Is that the one where you have to pump it like this?
No, this was before those days. This was in my Red Ryder days.
Oh,
it was
gotcha.
a little Red Ryder BB gun. It was just one lever action,
Yeah.
and then one shot, lever action, one shot. And so I had that cocked, ready to go, sitting on the bank right next to me, just in case the right birds flew around for me to shoot, bring home for dinner. But instead, I ended up catching about 13 bullheads out of the lake. And I brought them back, and I put them on a little stump, cleaned them, and I brought them into my mom. And I said, here, I brought you these. And she said, I was kidding. I was not serious. Of course I have dinner, And I was like, oh, she goes, well, I mean, now we're going to have these.
Oh, that's great.
But that's how I grew up. We had to make our own fun. And so our fun was playing war with BB guns. It was having crabapple fights. It was when our barn started collapsing, all these shingles started coming down. So we started throwing shingles at each other. You get hit by one of those things. It's like getting hit by it's like
a disc from Tron.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it just kind
dissolve.
Yeah, and it just cuts you in half, and whatever. My neighbors, Greg and Tom Kashalik, their parents helped raise me, and not that my parents needed help, but it's just that when you have boys all that close of age, we're either always at my house, at Seth and my brother Seth and Tom and Greg were either over at our house or we were over at their house, and their mom and dad decided that they were pretty sure that that my parents didn't feed us, especially Seth, because he ate a lot of food, but people in our neighborhood, and they were so good to us. Even when I go back to Rapids now, I still go and try to see Bob and Doc Kashalik, and Tom and Greg are now have families and out and on their own. We're still in touch to this day.
Oh,
cool.
Cool.
There's so much from my childhood that has come with me all the way up through where I am now. Buddies of mine from grade school and elementary school, we're still in touch to this day. They'll go on vacations and come out to see us. We still have like boys' night when I go home, and still go and hang out at one of the houses and just sit in the basement, just like we did when we were kids. And it's just that our conversations are different. But life was different in that there was no social media. The Atari 2600 had just come out.
Oh, yes. A simpler time.
A simpler time. We didn't have a television for much of my growing up, and for a part of it, we had a black and white, 12-inch black and white television.
12 inches, that's small.
Yeah. Yep, and it sat on a file cabinet in the corner of the living room.
Wow.
And it was a treat when we got to watch it. And it was like an hour, maybe an hour for a show during a week. So you look forward to that day of the week so you watch your hour
What was
show.
your favorite show?
Dukes of Hazzard.
That was a show?
Yeah.
I only know the movie.
Of course you do. Nope. John Schneider, Tom Wopat. Yep. Denver Pyle was Uncle Jesse. Yep. I got to meet him after I joined the Navy. It's one of the only times I ever went full fanboy. It was when I got to meet Uncle Jesse, the real Uncle Jesse.
Yeah.
And I lost my mind. I also enjoyed the Incredible Hulk as well.
Wow.
Lou Ferrigno was the Incredible Hulk, and it was just a different point in time. You probably didn't make the baseball team. Maybe you did. There was no such thing as a participation trophy. We drank water from the hose. I guarantee you my crib had lead paint. And we had gravel driveways that we could run barefoot down. We had bicycles that we made jumps out of a board and 2 bricks. And you put the board on it, and then you'd hit that thing as hard as you could. Hey, the jump might fall down. You don't know. You might get some air. You don't know.
Yeah.
But you're definitely going to crash at some point in that day.
Sounds like me and you would be best friends if we.
Oh, we would have done well. We would have done well. I would always take my skateboard out, the skateboard that you now have.
Yep.
And Sure Grip International,
Mm-hmm.
And I would go out and I would skateboard for hours out on these old country roads.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like skateboarding on cobblestone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we would go and build our own BMX tracks. We had 46 acres. We would go and build our own BMX tracks. And then one day my dad came home and he's just like, got a treat for you guys. He had built a go-kart. And that thing was stupid fast. And we built a track for that. So I didn't grow up privileged or wealthy, But I grew up very rich because I got to experience so much stuff. My mom and dad would, during the summer, my mom, she would kick us out in the morning, and she wouldn't even expect to see us until dinner. And sometimes we wouldn't even be home for dinner. We would be out at Tom and Greg's house or at the neighbors down the street or something. We would be, and down the street means way down the street.
Yeah,
This is
like miles down the street.
Yeah. And sometimes we'd be on our bikes. We would ride our bicycles all the way into Vesper, 6 miles. We're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. We're just on our little BMX bikes, bunch of little neighborhood kids, 4, 5 of us, 6 of us, just riding our bikes all the way over into Vesper so we could go and play some arcade games because they used to have these things called arcade games. And you used to take this money called a quarter, and you'd put it in it, and then you had hit player 1, and then you could play the game.
How much is a quarter worth?
A quarter?
Yeah.
How much is it worth? Or how much does it represent? Those are 2 different answers. Welcome to 2023, right? And so I would, and we had enough money to play a couple of video games and get some ice cream sandwiches and then ride our bikes all the way back home. I would swim almost every day back in the pond. In the winters, my dad would take the truck back there and snow plow off the pond, and we would go and we would ice skate back there, play hockey. Kids would come over with their snowmobiles. We had snowmobile races around the pond. Sometimes we would have parties, and the neighborhood would come over, and we would they had a big bonfire on one side, and the kids ice skating and playing hockey on the other side. And it was just that was how I grew up.
That sounds so much more fun than a freaking Xbox.
It's way more fun than an Xbox. Yeah. And you and I learned that mom and dad weren't gonna sit there and coddle you if you fell down on the ice and you hit your head. And if you were dumb enough to point a BB gun at your buddy and pull the trigger, it's like, hey, play dumb games, win dumb prizes.
Yep.
It's like there's going to be ridiculous stuff that's going to happen, but that's how I grew up. So I learned at an early age that hard is way better than strong. So as I began to grow up and become as I began to grow up, after I've grown up and became a dad, the one thing I always wanted for all you guys was for you to have a life in the country to some degree. Right?
Yeah.
And so then along comes, the business in Skydive San Diego, and having you be out here. Remember that one day I asked you, I said, what's your most unfavorite job at the drop zone?
Mowing the lawn.
And you said mowing the drop zone, mowing the grass. Yep. And I said, cool. See that lawnmower over there? I want you to get on it. When you start at this end, I don't want you to stop until you're on the other side.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to mow that thing?
3.5 days.
3.5 days later, you come to me and you had the biggest smile on your face, and you just said, Dad, I did it. I said, now, how does that feel? And you go, man, that is so rewarding.
It felt amazing.
And I said, that's what it feels like when you do something well, you do it in excellence, and you do it right the first time. I said, now, it was hard, and in the middle, you wanted to quit, and you felt like you were whining a little bit, and I don't want to do this, and why is Dad so mean? I can't believe it. But then you got done, and you're like, oh, I get it.
Yep. There's a lot of things that I understand now growing up. Yeah. And something I still can barely wrap my head around is when Adrian came along. This was probably a few years after Adrian came along.
Mm-hmm.
He had done something to get himself in trouble. I don't remember what it is. There's a lot. And you had him drop down. He started doing push-ups, and you were yelling at him. You were like, why didn't you do this? You just should have done this right. God, stop messing up. And then you turn around and you're like, okay, hey Sam, what do you want for lunch? What are you feeling? And it was right there. I was like, back up. What was that? Like that was, I can't tell. I don't know whether to be mad or impressed.
You mean to tell me that when you do that, you're not even mad? I'm like, no. It takes a lot more than that to get me mad.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, all this time I thought you were mad. You're like, no. Making a point.
And now, I mean, I know that you're not mad, but it still scares me. Like it's still scary.
Yeah. Well, now it's like I don't even like.
It doesn't even happen.
Well,
that much anymore.
Well, no. It's like now it's just like, hey Sam, do better. And when I say that, you're just like, I was like, no. You have to get all wiggly. You just do better.
Yeah.
It's okay. You did okay, but do better. And you're like, got it. Yes, sir. On it. And people always get wrapped around the axle on the sir thing. Like, oh, why do you make your kids call you sir? I'm like, I don't. They started doing that on their own. And I call them sir. Yeah. I say thank you, sir, all the time to my kids. And well, why is that? I'm like, it's a show of respect.
That's right.
And I respect my children. I respect my boys. They're good dudes. They are really good men. And I want to show them respect. So I call them sir. And people always say like, oh well, I didn't see that coming. So okay.
Yeah, a lot of my friends would ask me, why do you call your dad sir? I was like, to be honest, I don't even know. I respect him. That's what you would say to someone that you respect. It's, yes sir, yes ma'am. Yeah.
I do that all the time. I say it. I bet I say it 3 or 4 times a day. I call Zach sir. You know, it's just Zach does it too. It's just it's what you do, and a lot has to do with how you treat people. There's a lot that goes into how you treat people.
Character.
The things that you're going to say to them. And character, right?
Yep.
Character is how you are in public and how you are in private, being the same person. That's character, right? And the way you treat people, the things that you say and the things that you do that are going to honor someone. Do you honor up the people that are above you? Do you honor down the people that are coming up after you? Do you honor across the people who are your peers? Mm. If you can hit all of those dimensions with honor, things are going to go very well for you. You're going to find favor. You're going to find that people are going to want to be around you. People are going to want to hear what you have to say. People are going to feel encouraged to be around you. People are going to follow you. They're going to want to see, they want to be around you and watch the awesome that comes off of you. That's what they're going to want to do, right? Because you honor. In fact, honor, and again, the basis of this is going to be character, right? But there's one of the 10 commandments, honor your father and your mother. Do you know what the second half of that is? That all may be well with you.
Gotcha.
Honor your father and your mother, that all may be well with you. That means that if you are honoring your parents, and it's not just talking about your parents, it's just honor your father and your mother. Honor the authority that's in your life. And that's why I'm always trying to get you guys to do too, is have authorities in your life. Like I have 5.
Yep.
5 dads. But when you honor those dads, when you honor those people that you have in authority as authorities in your life, now things are going to go better for you, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And are you going to find favor if you're constantly pushing back against your parents?
Probably not.
No. Are you going to find favor if you're grateful and you're thankful and honoring to your parents? Are your parents going to say like, hey, Dad, can I borrow the keys? I need to go to my friend's house and I need to do this. I need to do whatever. He's going to say, here you go. Hey, Dad, why'd you just give me the car keys like that? Because I trust you. And I trust that you're going to do what you said you're going to do. I trust that you're going to go where you said that you were going to go. And when you get there, I trust you that you're going to do exactly the thing. I also trust you not to go there, and I trust you that you're not going to go there, and you're not going to hang out with this person, and you're not going to do the thing over here. But if you're somebody who is just always pushing back on your parents, and you're rude to your parents, you're mean to them, you aren't honoring, you make fun of them, you speak poorly about them, if you're aggressive to them, and your parents, when it comes time for them to be able to show you maybe some rite of passage type of stuff, like you're 16, you can drive.
Mm-hmm.
Parents will be like, "You're not driving my car. I need that car to go to work, and I'm not quite sure what you do in that car when I give you the keys."
Right.
It's because you're not worthy of the returning honor.
Mm.
And you're not worthy of the favor that comes as a result of honor. Because you're just going to go out and you're going to do something that's going to be counterproductive to the relationship that you have with your parents. That is the offspring of honor, is going to be favor. And a lot of people miss that.
Yeah.
And so when you watch me growing up communicate to other people, and I'm always calling them sir, it's you start doing it. You just will. Because you're going to communicate like the father would. And did you ever notice how I never introduced you to anybody?
Yeah.
I've never once introduced you to somebody.
I appreciated that.
Yep. I would always say, "Hey, Sam, introduce yourself." I still do that to this day.
Yes, you do.
Introduce yourself. And you take a step forward, you look them in the eye, you have a great handshake, and you say, "Hi, my name's Sam. What's your name?" Because I don't even tell you what their name is.
Right.
Like, "Sam, introduce yourself." And they tell you the name. Like, "Hey, Nathan, nice to meet you."
Yeah.
Cool. How do you know my dad? And that's when they put it together, and they're like, "Wow, man, that was," to the person to this day. Everybody always says that was a good handshake, and man, eye contact and everything. Adrian does it really well too.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Because that is honoring when you do that, and then calling them sir. They say, "Okay, well, hey, nice to meet you, Sam." "Yes, sir." You always do that. You're honoring them, and then I hear about you for the next 5 minutes. I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Yeah, he's a great kid. Can we get back on the topic of what we were talking about?" But it's still, it's really fun. It's really fun to watch when somebody can honor, and they can honor correctly.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with nowadays, especially in my generation.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's so glued to their phones. They don't know how to give somebody respect for their attention.
Mm.
And like when I meet someone new that's my age, it's not a handshake. It's something we do called a dap up. It's kind of what it looks like. And it's like I feel like it's not enough. I feel like a lot of people just lack so much communication.
What if you just started doing it? They start doing it, like, "Oh, what are you doing? No. What? Go ahead. Shake my hand like an adult. Good. Hey, good to see you, buddy."
Yep, I have done that a few
and
times.
you start doing that, they're gonna feel like they just got left behind.
Yep.
That's what's gonna happen, because you just took a step and you just went right by them.
Mm.
You went right into being an adult, and they're still locked back there at 13.
Yep.
And they're gonna be like, "Oh, wait for me."
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You watch. And then if you have high EQ and you do something like that, watch what happens. Pay close attention in the next 5 minutes if you're still around them. Right. Watch what they do. They're gonna lean in when you talk. They're gonna lean in. They're gonna ask you questions. Because they want to know, like, what just happened.
Yeah.
Because they want whatever it is that you had for breakfast that morning that made you an adult all of a sudden. They want that meal.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds. I'm gonna start doing that more. I think that's.
Yeah.
That's
Somebody that do that. What's it called? A dap up?
Yeah.
Can't you guys even come up with good names for stuff?
Hey, I don't. Not me. It wasn't me.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's it's also how people use their words and the words that they use to address other people, and they're not really thinking about how they come off to other people. They're thinking about what's the easiest way that I can communicate this to that person, and how few words I can use. And it's difficult to see for me, because growing up with you, I learned how to be an adult at a young age. I learned how to carry myself like I'm older than I am. And I don't see that anywhere else. I think that people need to.
There's a few kids out there that are doing that, like Sebastian and Santiago.
Yeah,
are definitely beyond
sure.
their years. Like Mary and Kieran are definitely beyond their years. Like there's kids out there that are way down the road, but those kids that are like that, it's very hard to. It's when you see them, you'll never forget them.
Yep.
When you're around it. I remember I was speaking at a men's conference once, and this kid came up to me, and his name was Nathan. And he came up and he was like, "Hi, Mr. Bramstead. I'm Nathan. It's great to meet you. I really enjoyed your message today. I really got." And he just started like talking. I was like, "How old are you?" He's like, "I'm 7." Dude, I got my wallet out, and I gave the kid $100 bill. I was like, "Here," and his parents were like, what? Why are you getting my kid $100? And I said, how old are you? He said, I'm 7. He goes, you want to know why I just gave you $100? And he was like, why? I said, because I want to be the first person to invest into your future. And my investment is not this $100. It's, I want you to never forget the moment a stranger gave you $100. Because you got that $100 because you made such an impact on me with how you interfaced with me.
Right.
And he was just like, well, wow, okay. And the dad was just like, wow, like I did not see that coming. And I was like, can I talk to you for a minute? I pulled his dad aside. I'm like, whatever you're doing, can you do it again? Like that kid over there. How about that kid over there? Do it again. Keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. It's like you're a dad, but you're supposed to be a dad to much more than just your kid. It's gotta be something that you gotta take what you just did with him and you gotta make it go viral somehow.
Yeah.
Because that was amazing and just breathing a little bit of life across this guy, the spark in him. All of a sudden, he stood up a little bit straighter. His shoulders came back because I was just confirming and affirming the fact that he was an amazing dad just by what I saw. And I don't know if he's really an amazing dad or not. I don't see him parent, but this kid here, you could definitely tell he loved his dad. Yeah. And he definitely knew how to engage with other adult males. And it was really impressive to see.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, kids nowadays, just the way that they talk and have exchanges with adults and everything else is a little bit different. So,
yeah. Well, I really appreciate the time that you've cut out for me today. I appreciate it. And make sure that you guys go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, give us your thoughts on if there's anything that you want to hear in the future. And yeah, I really appreciated this.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this a lot.
Good. You did a good job, dude.
I had a lot of fun. And, of course, stay dangerous.
Fail.
I don't know. A little Rico Suave.